September 11, 2001, it's often thought of as a horrific chapter from the past. Many are still living with it. To this day, thousands are still dealing with medical problems caused by the fumes and dust, and the fund that's supposed to provide for them, the Victim Compensation Fund, it's facing drastic cuts. So let's turn our focus on two heroes who responded that fateful day. Firefighter Tim Callahan, who rushed to the Pentagon, and Coast Guard Captain Mike Day, he was in New York City. Their stories illustrate why we should all care about the Victim Compensation Fund. Here's Evan Koslof.
No matter how many showers you take, how do you get all that out once it's in your system? I hope and pray that the generations now and in the future never, ever, ever see anything like this in their lifetime. It's like I said, it's been 15 years or more since I've been back.
Coming here to the Pentagon brings it all back for Tim Callahan. You see, he's a retired firefighter and was there just minutes after the planes hit.
It was a reality check. It was like, wow, this isn't a bad dream that I'm going to wake up for. I'm living this nightmare. I'm part of this nightmare. And what a nightmare it was.
9/11, the anniversary, still impacts me quite a bit.
It's something Mike Day can relate to. He's in the Coast Guard, now serving at Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. But in 2001, on that horrible day, he was in the New York Harbor and saw the towers fall.
It was like a snowstorm. It was just, everything was white. For a generation of Americans, 9/11 will be that moment in time that is, forever frozen.
Both of them, without hesitation, jumped into action when they were needed, and both of them paid the price for it. Mike developed skin cancer some 3 years ago, and Tim had prostate cancer. All of this has been tied to the toxic fumes they breathed in on 9/11.
We will never forget, and we won't, because we're living with the results of it. You know, I could show you my scars.
And this is when we have to tell you about three incredibly important letters. The VCF, short for the Victim Compensation Fund. It was created in 2001, shortly after the attacks, to compensate families of those who died on 9/11. But soon it became clear that people were getting sick, respiratory problems, cancers, and so the program was expanded to help them as well. As the number of victims grew, Congress was forced to refill the fund twice, once in 2010 and again in 2015. But here's the problem. People keep getting sick, especially with cancers, and many people are dying because of their illnesses. And so that pot is just getting drained. Of the $7.4 billion that was added in 2015, just over $2 billion remains. And remember, this needs to last until 2020. And so massive cuts were announced in February. 50% to all pending claims and 70% to any new claims. Just think about that. That means if you were going to get $100 on a new claim, now you're getting $30.
I just find it ironic, as I've hear the 9/11 never forget, and yet here it is not even 20 years later, and it feels like it's being forgotten.
Stick to our mission.
And that brings us here to the Capitol.
All right, let's just head down.
Where these first responders
Grab it.
are trying to get Congress to allocate more money to the fund. They invited us to shadow them.
I think it's like a hearing room or something, right?
Leading the House crew is Rob Serra, a retired firefighter from New York City.
I'm here because I can be. There's other people who can't be, very close friends who are in the hospital on dialysis, and they need to be fought for. It's been all over the news.
This group tracked down congressmen, sometimes in pre-planned meetings.
We'd like to see his name on the website by the end of the week. That'd be great.
And sometimes in the hallways.
And I feel good about it.
And here's the good news. The bill already has enough co-sponsors in the House to pass.
Senator Hovind's office.
The question is here in the Senate, where Rich Palmer, a former firefighter, is meeting with some high-profile lawmakers. We're talking about people like Portman, Rubio, Graham, and McConnell.
Do you feel sort of uncomfortable here, or do you feel like this is where you're supposed to be?
That's where I'm supposed to be. I've been doing this my 95th trip.
And here's the math in the Senate. Any bill needs 60 votes to pass. Right now, they have just 40 co-sponsors, 32 Democrats and 8 Republicans. So to pass, they need 20 more senators to get on board.
We're here to get a bill passed. It's that simple.
John Fields, another former firefighter, and has been leading this type of lobbying trip since 2005. He says it's personal.
People are sick and dying still, 18 years later from 9/11, and it's not getting better. It's going to get worse. You can take the fight to the doorsteps of D.C. You can. This is our house. They work for us.
It's a no-brainer.
Back at the Pentagon, Tim is hopeful that Congress will step up and help those that were there for all of us on 9/11.
Congress controls the purse strings. They need to manage the money. Put the money where your mouth is. You said never forget, then don't forget.
We're making it easy for you to get involved. Right now on our website and the WSA 9 app, we have a link that will show you whether your local lawmakers back this bill or not. On Tuesday, first responders will be testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee. Comedian Jon Stewart will also be testifying as a longtime advocate for this cause. We'll have full coverage right here on WSA 9.